Welcome everybody. This is our talk on our paper Pizza versus Pinsa on the perception and measurability of unit test code quality. And I'm Giovanni Gano, PhD student at the University of Zurich, and this is a work that comes out of the thesis of our student, Christian Diaco. Welcome everybody. My name is Giovanni Grano. Today I will present our paper titled Pizza versus Pinsa on the perception and measurability of unit test code quality. So first, what is a pinza? Probably you might ask yourself. So pinza is a flatbread typically of Rome, and it can easily be confused with a pizza, especially by non-Italians. And in fact, it's quite similar to a pizza. They're made of similar ingredients and the toppings can also be the same. Pinsa, however, has a different form, is more crispy than a pizza and does not have the same high borders. In other words, it looks similar to a pizza, but it's not the same thing. And hang on with this notion and let's start with some actual content. So in this paper, we talk about quality of unit test cases, and they form an essential assets to foster and evaluate quality of software projects. And everyone is convinced by the importance of appropriate testing, so I won't go too long on that. To be effective, tests also needs to be of a good quality, and research proposed many metrics to assess such a quality, one above all mutation score. However, little is known on how practitioner perceived unit test quality and whether the existing metrics can reflect their perception. And here it comes our metaphor with the pinza. So if you don't have the right metrics, you might end up measuring something that's closer to you want to measure, but not quite the same, like in the case of a pizza and a pizza. So if you use the ingredients as a metaphor for metrics, some are the same, like water, flour, oil, but at the end you perceive the two things, pizza and pinza, in a different way. So that's why we need to have good metrics that match the perception of test quality to actually measure what we want to measure and capture the perception of test quality. To do so, in the paper, we propose a mixed method research approach to answer two research questions. The first one is to derive a taxonomy of factors that are relevant for practitioner when assessing test code quality. And the second one is to understand whether the current metrics match what's the developer's perception. And this is a mixed approach because we use both qualitative data from interviews and survey, and we use also a statistical model built on quantitative data. So let's jump in our first RQ. We started with semi-structured interviews. We interviewed 5 experts from both in industry and research. And the goal of these interviews was to come up with an initial taxonomy of important factors for unit test code quality. So we started with a general discussion, then we tried to understand which was the definition of quality of tests for those people. And then we asked them at the end to summarize, to try to come up with some measurable factors that we can use to measure quality of tests. And we came up with the first taxonomy. Then we use a second step. We run a survey with a larger base. The survey was taken by 70 developers online in March 2020 by a Lime survey and was advertised by Reddit, Twitter, and whatever. And the goal was to confirm the initial taxonomy and to eventually adding some additional factors that did not come up for the interviews. And at the end, we also asked people to rate the quality of sub-test snippets, and this will come up with our second research questions. So at the end, we create a taxonomy that's basically the following. So we had 3 main categories that are behavioral, structural, and executional. Behavioral concern about the behavioral unit test, and while structural concern about the structure of a test. So for instance, size, for instance, the design of a test, while executional features refers to executional tests, like the running time, for instance, and the reliability of the results intended as a flakiness. And in the paper, we also discuss about how many time a features in a classifying branch of taxonomy was mentioned by developers. And this was a kind of a proxy for the importance of the features that were proposed by developers. In the first level of taxonomy, structural features were mentioned more often by people, and followed by the behavioral and then by the executional features. In the second level of taxonomy was the scope features, the one more mentioned by people. So this was a behavioral metric, scope intended as how focus is a test in exercising a single behavior. Then we have a bunch of structural metrics. What can we get from those findings? We get that unit test quality is not a simple concept. It actually has multiple dimensions and multiple aspects and characteristics. The second one is that people do not care only about the effectiveness of tests, but they also care about non-functional aspects like readability or understandability. Finally, they care about good design and absence of smells when they talk about test case quality. In the second, these questions, we try to see whether metrics that we have can match the perception quality. To do so, we use the snippets that developers rated in our survey. We asked them to rate 3 snippets with a Likert scale from 1 to 5. And then this was our response variable for our model we tried to build. And then we collected 11 metrics like mutation score, readability, coupling, assertion density, and we built this proportional odds model that basically tried to determine a relation between perceived test quality and code metrics. And this is a kind of model, a kind of generalized linear model that it's used to predict an ordinal variable that assumes values on an ordinary scale where ordering is important. So this is perfect for our Likert scale evaluation. And we have basically 4 metrics that are relevant for our model. One, mutation score is relevant in a positive way, so it positively influenced quality. Other 3, like coupling between objects, assertion roulette, and number of setting invocations, have a negative effect on test quality. And I cannot go too much into to explain why those metrics might be important. We have more details in the paper. The thing that I want to highlight is the thing on the right. So this kind of model gives us intercepts for each category, and each intercept corresponds to the cumulative probability of an outcome. And what we can see is that when the level increases, the statistically significant of our model decreases. So it means that the model is very good to model test quality for lower quality tests, but fails when the quality of tests increases. So the main finding for this second research question is this one, that the metrics we have can actually discern low quality tests from fair ones in a pretty efficient way, but they fail in doing so when we talk about more tests of bigger quality, better quality. A second aspect we observed is that many structural metrics have been proposed by developers as important in RQ1, but those metrics, we didn't observe the importance of those metrics in RQ2. So this might hint to the fact that these metrics have a poor ability in capture the aspects they intend to. So more research is needed to find better metrics. And these 2 findings together confirm the fact that the metrics we have are important and they are useful, but they cannot provide a comprehensive model of perceived quality. So what's the take-home message for today? First one, we learned what is a Pinsa. Second one, we interviewed people and we ran a survey. We tried to understand which are the important factors for quality. And third, we observed how these metrics match perception of quality for developer. And we saw that they can do it to some extent, and more needs to be done in this field. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed the talk.